With each passing day, Russian forces are pushing harder and harder on Ukrainian territory to capture as much land as possible before Kyiv starts to receive aid from the US. In the latest offensive, the Russian military carried out precision strikes in the Ukrainian city of Odesa, hitting mostly civilian residential buildings and civil infrastructure. A fire broke out at a building in the southern port city after getting hit by one of the Russian missiles. The building, also called the Harry Potter Castle by locals because of its Gothic turreted style, was seriously damaged and on fire. At least 4 people, including 3 women and 1 man, were killed, while 27 others were injured. A reaction from the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, soon followed the attack. He, as usual, made a call to the helping nations for support.
The daily Russian missile attacks, as well as the daily attempts of the occupier to destroy more of our positions, can all be stopped. The Russian offensive plans can be thwarted. For this, Ukrainian strength must be backed up by sufficient support from partners. Patriots that are needed here. The 155mm caliber that must sound as strong as possible at the front. The weapons with sufficient range that can and must destroy Russian logistics.
The Russian offensive in the east of Ukraine, in the Donetsk Oblast region, continues, especially in the city of Chasiv Yar. Russian military bloggers, also called mill bloggers, are claiming that Russian forces are using turtle armored vehicles in combat operations near Chasiv Yar after having recently used similar vehicle protection systems fitted on tanks west of Donetsk city near Krasnohorivka. The term turtle refers to armored vehicles that are covered with metal sheets welded on their sides to protect against drone strikes. The deputy commander of a Ukrainian unit operating near Chasiv Yar stated that Ukrainian and Russian forces each control about 50% of Ivanivska and that Ukrainian and Russian forces are conducting attacks in the settlement in alternating waves. He also stated that Russian forces are interested in taking Ivanivska, which is located in a geographical lowland, to advance to Chasiv Yar. Jens Stoltenberg, the chief of the NATO alliance on his visit to Ukraine, revealed internal rumbling in the alliance over aid to Ukraine. He said NATO countries had failed to deliver in good time what they promised to Ukraine, as Russia rushes to exploit its battlefield advantages before Kyiv's depleted forces get more Western military supplies in the war. Stoltenberg has also blamed the indecisiveness of the US Congress for passing the aid to Ukraine.
NATO allies have not delivered what they promised. The United States spent months not agreeing a package for Ukraine, and European allies have not delivered the amount of ammunition they promised. And this has had serious consequences on the battlefield. The lack of ammunition has enabled the Russians to push forward along the front line. Lack of air defense has made it possible for more Russian missiles to hit their targets. And the lack of deep strike capabilities has made it possible for the Russians to concentrate more forces. And we see the consequences of that now.
Zelenskyy, however, said that the new Western supplies have started arriving, but slowly, which he said is giving an advantage to the Russian offensive.
The Russian army is now trying to use to its advantage the situation of when we expect supplies from partners, above all from the United States of America. That is why efficiency in delivery literally means stabilization of the front line. 155 caliber artillery, long-range weapons and anti-aircraft defense, primarily the Patriot system. This is what the partners have, and what should now work here in Ukraine to destroy Russian terrorist ambitions. The Russian army is preparing for further offensive actions, and together we must disrupt the Russian offensive. Our partners have all the necessary means for this.
Still, the Ukrainian side can weigh on the positives that followed the US aid announcement. The US Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, announced the arrival of F-16 jets in Ukraine. Ukraine has, for a long time, been requesting advanced warplanes. But it is after 2 years into the war that Ukraine will see the plane landing on its soil.
This year, more than a squadron of donated F-16s will start to arrive in Ukraine, along with pilots and maintainers trained by members of this contact group. And this contact group continues to step up to meet Ukraine's most urgent needs.
It remains to be seen how and when the military aid provided by NATO allies will be of use to Ukraine. If it does prove useful, what impact will it have on stopping the advances of Russian forces, not only on the ground, but also in the skies? This is particularly concerning given the warning from the Russian president against any F-16 action in the war. And we will destroy their planes just as we destroy their tanks, armored vehicles and other equipment today, including multiple launch rocket systems. Of course, if they are used from airfields of third countries, they become a legitimate target for us no matter where they are.